Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Well, the fallout of the Charlie Kirk shooting is still ongoing, but one thing that is for sure is that the radical left has a real problem with their extremist rhetoric and the way that they refuse to take blame for anything that happens. And one of the prime examples of a reckless Democrat who has run her mouth constantly since coming into office and is somehow still not deported from the United States is Ilhan Omar. Now, this representative from Minnesota appears to be unable to sympathize with anyone who doesn't believe in her extreme Marxist radical views. And this is a theme that we're seeing on the American left, and it's somewhat disheartening to see that Congress members like Ilhan Omar continue to go out and fan the flames when America needs to grieve, they need to heal, and they need to come to a reckoning about the issues of the day, including political violence. So before we get into the story, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Ilhan Omar doesn't surprise anyone with her insensitive and extremist rhetoric at this point. And so it might be understandable that someone doesn't listen to what she says, but she has influence. Her words do have purchase, and she continues to abuse them to the detriment of this country. She is a refugee from Somalia who came to the United States. She appears to have committed marriage fraud with her brother, so it's a bit of a mystery why she has been allowed to skate free and not be held accountable for her reckless behavior over the years. And there are even questions about how she has amassed a fortune, several millions of dollars by various reports, $6 million. Some have cited higher figures than that. But she has become rich by being an incendiary demagogue who is really hurting this country. Her words are damaging America. Our social fabric is already frayed, and she is trying her best to tear it apart. So when Charlie Kirk is shot in a heinous attack at a university simply for asking questions, for engaging in dialogue with college students, for attempting to persuade people to his point of view through facts, reason, evidence, logic, it is disturbing to see Congress members like Ilhan Omar not get the memo. She is not reading the room. And she continues to preach to the choir. So we're going to continue to hold her accountable by shining a mirror up to the Democratic Party, because Ilhan Omar, she continues to be an influential voice in the Democratic Party. And just like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she jumped on this tragedy to insensitively, within hours, call for gun control. Now, this isn't a lecture on gun control. This is about Ilhan Omar. But suffice to say, there are tens of millions of law-abiding gun owners in this country. 99.99% of lawfully possessed firearms are not used in violent crimes. So it is a non-starter. It is completely reckless and illogical to blame guns themselves. And so what we can blame are the social conditions that are leading some people to conclude that it is morally and socially acceptable to carry out attacks on people that they disagree with. And that is the case with Charlie Kirk, because those people who are celebrating his death on TikTok, on Blue Sky, on Threads, with hateful, in some cases violent language, they are morally complicit in Charlie Kirk's death, and they are also morally an accomplice to the next similar murder that happens because of their hatred and vitriol. So those people should feel ashamed of themselves. And Ilhan Omar, as we know here at Explain America, is incapable of shame. She doesn't feel it. She feels that she is justified in continuing to tear down this country. She believes that we're colonists and oppressors and we're racists simply because of our skin color, and we're not on her team morally and politically. So it's really unfortunate to see her double down and blame people who are just middle Americans, common sense people, also MAGA supporters and conservatives, for what happened. She says the right was inciting violence and then crying about it. And she accused people of saying they don't really care about the life that is lost. It's about who they can demonize. And that demonization is what leads to lives being taken.
When it comes to an attack, whether it is a school shooting or a shooting in a movie theater, or a politician gets shot up, they are quick to make the assumption of who the shooters are.
Yes.
While we sit there and try to talk about solutions, try to
Yes.
talk about the families,
Gun control, but nobody wants to talk about gun control.
Have a rational conversation. They want to point the finger because to them they don't really care about the life that is lost. It's about who I can demonize.
Yes.
And that demonization is what leads to lives being taken. And I want them to realize that they can't continue to set the fires that end up consuming them and cry about it.
This shows a real darkness in her soul. And, God help us with members of Congress who are this hateful, that are this spiteful. And she needs to be censored for this kind of language, and she's already been censored one time for this. It doesn't go far enough. She really needs to be removed from office and potentially from the United States if she committed immigration fraud, which it appears that is a possibility. So if you have any thoughts of your own on this, please comment on it. We appreciate hearing from you at Explain America.